Hello and welcome once again. I'm Nick Hennigan and I've moved out into the garden. Why not? There are no pubs open at the moment, of course, as I record this because of lockdown. It looks like I've got a little halo over my head. Maverick Theatre sent me grey. Anyway, just to say thank you so much again for all the positive and encouraging messages about this book, this extract. I hope you can hear this okay. There's birds in the background. I thought, it'd be nice and relaxing. And so without further ado, I'm going to try this system. I've been using my phone up until now. I'm trying this on my computer now. It's chapter 3 of The Making of a Ghost of a Chance, or How to Make a Crisis Out of a Drama. And we're on to the official 1997 book now, after the introductions. So I shall just read as it goes. This is the production diary of author and producer Nick Hennigan. Dedication. My mum says still that I've been more trouble to her than her other 3 kids put together. Well, this is only a small book, but I would like to dedicate it to Mum and Dad, who have enabled me to write with some conviction about a warm and loving childhood. Sorry, Mum. Introduction. For our first production, Educating Rita, in January 1994, I wrote a small diary entry in Maverick News, a free 4-page newsletter/paper. Since then, a number of people have suggested I should do a more detailed diary. So here it is, folks. This is a record of the making of A Ghost of a Chance, the play. But right from the start, I decided it couldn't be an autobiography, as who am I anyway? And as with all my writings, I was not sure how it would finally end up. This book covers nearly 6 months of Maverick Theatre life and spans 3 productions. It's not so much a diary as a stream of consciousness, and touches on a variety of topics not directly related to the play or even Maverick Theatre. But that was how things came out. When I started this, I sent copies of the sheets to relevant pages to anyone who appeared in it to enable them to proof and approve their inclusion. This eventually got very impractical. And so I'm sorry if you are in here without your knowledge. I hope I've not upset anyone. And because the whole point of this was to have it ready for the play, I finished writing it the evening before the first night of A Ghost of a Chance. I'm actually writing this before we go off to the printer, which means we've had no time to proof it, so expect grammatical, spelling and structural mistakes. I've read bits as I've gone to John Slater, and he thinks it's okay. He's a doer-bugger, is John Slater, the Victor Meldrew of Maverick Theatre. But even he laughed out loud on occasions, and on a couple of occasions he also wiped away a tear. So here it is. I hope it fits in with the Maverick principle of access, of communicating with a wider audience and bringing people into the process. This is not really about running a theatre company, and I think it's a touch self-indulgent at times, but it does have a sprinkling of famous and soon-to-be famous people, and I have to say, although it's been somewhat of a chore on occasions, it's been quite good fun to write. I shall miss it a little bit, like I shall miss the Ghost of a Chance team. Read on, and you'll see why. Spring. 1st of May, 1997. Ah, May. Springtime, the dawn of a new summer. But in spite of the lovely weather, all I can think of is that the light nights mean that a blackout in our performance room, the round room where we perform our plays ever since our dedicated theatre space was turned into a kids' wacky warehouse, at the Billesley pub, is virtually impossible. An audience on nights when there's a disco in the pub room next door won't notice the light. They'll be too busy trying to block out the sound of the Lighthouse People or whichever song it is at the moment that features that deep bass resonance that makes your teeth itch. Oh, yes. I'm in a strange, dark mood. I looked at myself in the mirror this morning. Yeah, I didn't really, but that's the kind of thing they say on Radio 4 during Thought for the Day, so I thought it sounded posh. And I couldn't help but feel a certain negativity, in spite of our brilliant news about the funding of A Ghost of a Chance. Because to start with, I couldn't figure out what my problem was. It's true, we've not had any funding, not a penny from anywhere for 3 years. Well, in fact, that's not true. We won £3,000 from the Association of Business Sponsorship from the Arts, ABSA, last May, which was fantastic. But it's still not a lot of money for 3 years' effort. And you know what it's like when you wake up with your bum in your hand. You slap your bum and give your hand a good talking to. Anyway, having done that, I couldn't figure out still what was wrong with me and why I felt so fed up. I came downstairs and took stock of my house. Maybe it's the mess and clutter. Domesticity is not my strong point. There always seem to be more important things to do. I moved to Highbury Road in Kingsheath, Birmingham in 1988, so I can't use the old excuse that the place is a tip because I've just moved in. Although I only stopped saying that last year. I'd earmarked when I first moved in the little bedroom at the back of the house as a study for when I became a man of letters. I like the idea of having a study. Excuse me. When I was whizzing all over the place, making pots of dosh doing promotions and new product launches, or working for BR&B Radio or the BBC at Pebble Mill, my study was more than ample. And I could afford a cleaner in those days too. Although even then they needed to be strong to work here. My Auntie Bridie was the best cleaner ever, by the way. Although probably because we used to spend so much time talking. But Maverick has been like an infectious disease. Oh yes. First to fall victim to the dreaded curse of the Maverick was me garage. The set from Educating Rita is still in there. Turn this off. Not worth nicking, by the way, the set for Educating Rita, should you be criminally inclined. If you are domestically inclined, we'd have no objection whatsoever to you breaking in and giving the place a good old dusting though. Thank you. Next, kicking and screaming went me 2 garden sheds, old board and bits of flats from sets. Then when John Slater came on board, my dining room fell. Our commercial production office shoved the lodger out of the way, and now there's only my bedroom which hasn't been completely mavericked. Although, having said that, when things get busy downstairs, I tend to retreat up there during the day with theatre work. I pause as I step over the boxes of newly arrived leaflets for our next production, Up and Under, by the way, between the office and the kitchen, to wonder if millionaire producer Cameron McIntosh has the same problem with his Scottish castle. Probably not. I also, as I do a Damon Hill round the chicane of cardboard boxes John Slater is saving for storage in the kitchen by the bin bag, and head towards the Nest Cafe and Kettle, wonder when precisely I started calling my house the office. Pausing only to reflect as I dodged the 8 huge vacuum flasks left over from the location shoot of our first film, Boy Girl Boy Bike, up next to the fridge that was, if I would ever go to work again. But this wasn't the reason for my blue mood. I hadn't seen Neighbours for a while, and surely that wasn't any great influence on my morale. I mean, Harold Bishop has returned. And our production of Same Time Next Year is about to open. I often get a little twitchy when there's no production on. It's a precursor to getting a little bit knackered when there is a production on. So, dragging my bedressing-gowned form to the sitting room, I swept away the pile of bills that I leave on the couch to remind me that there is a real world out there. Of course, one of the advantages to working downstairs is that you don't need to get dressed to go to the office. I tend to think that, were it not for the occasional production, I could probably live forever in a series of dressing gowns, or house coats, as one girlfriend used to call them. Think of the washing it'd save. I shuffled to the front door and picked up the post, checking to see if there were any nice letters. I always open the handwritten ones addressed to Maverick first. Occasionally, they're requests for jobs, but more often they are cheques for tickets, yippee! Or just letters from nice people who want to know a bit more about us. They're the best. I always feel incredibly guilty that it seems to take me about 4 years to reply to them. So I made a coffee, took a sip, lit a fag, and said, as I do every day at this time, that I must give up smoking. I did once give up for about 4 months. Then I had woman trouble and looked to Humphrey Bogart as a role model. Suddenly, as I fondled the red telephone bill, it hit me. Eureka! I knew why I felt so fed up. We'd got all this funding for A Ghost of a Chance. It's a new play. I'd managed to get John Adams, a genius director who wouldn't normally get out of bed for less than our annual turnover. I'd nearly got Paul Henry, a brilliant named actor who was prepared to act the role. So what was wrong? I hear you cry. Don't cry. It's not that bad. Well, suddenly it hit me. I'd got to finish writing the bloody thing. All this funding, all this talent, and the incredible goodwill of some of our audiences that never ceases to amaze me, it all counted for nothing if I wrote a pile of complete doggy doos. I'd done the first draft and that had been well received and indeed was the basis of us winning an award. But there ain't no feeling to match the terror of a first night of a new play, particularly when it's one what I wrote. I've only done 2 before. One was okay because I knew nothing. The other gave me a twitch and reduced my girlfriend to tears over fears about my mental health. So as I write this, I resolve to get on with the art. Once Same Time next year is up and running, I'd better do something about Ghost of a Chance. Oh, see? I feel better already. There will not be problems with blackouts and discos for Same Time next year at the Billesley pub. I'm amazed I ever thought there would be. I'll see you tomorrow.